Welcome back to Crystal Clear! I'm Ostrich Vox, and although we're excited for Steven Universe the movie, I think it's important we keep our sights on what lies after the movie. What comes next for the Steven Universe franchise? In particular, what's in store for Season 6 of the series? While we probably won't have a good idea of where the story in itself can go until after the movie airs, thanks to Rebecca Sugar, we might have a big clue. Fellow content creator Toon Ruins, aka Leah C, recently addressed a huge concern with the upcoming 6th season of Steven Universe, the timeline. Will the movie be at the end of the timeline of the entire series? Kind of like the first SpongeBob movie. Sure, plenty of episodes and films have come after the first movie, but none of them take place after that first film. It's still the true canon end to everything we know. So will the Steven Universe movie follow that same logic? That yeah, there's more animated goodness after this, but in terms of story, this is the end of the road? Well, I got to thinking, and I had my own conclusions to draw for the future of the series. If the future seasons of Steven Universe will be set in the past, future, or even both. And what plot points could be covered in what period. Now, as always, I'm gonna issue a spoiler warning. If you don't want to know anything about the future of Steven Universe, what you could expect in Season 6 and beyond, click off now. So where does the speculation begin? Well, in a recent Polygon interview with Rebecca Sugar at San Diego Comic-Con, the creator of the series was questioned on what she would do after Steven Universe, when all of this is said and done, and the series eventually has its final episode. To which Sugar's answer branched off into an entirely different component of the series entirely. Roll the clip.
I would like to take some time to just go somewhere and write poetry that no one will ever see. Steven is so important to me, so my head is really in it while I'm seeing it through. Yeah. So and please know, this world, there's a lot, especially, the movie takes place 2 years. There are a lot of stories to tell that I just stop talking.
Okay, that's fine.
There's some things that can't get wrapped up in 2 years even.
So yeah, we went from post-series vacation plans to timelines of future seasons. That's how you know you love your craft. So yeah, on top of giving us reassurance that there's plenty more of Steven Universe to come, Sugar began to touch on the length of time within the time skip itself, hinting at the content of what's to come, alluding to the fact that some lingering plot points can't be resolved even in the time span of 2 years. But when we look at the trailer for Steven Universe the movie, it's clear a few of those plot points have been resolved, leaving aspects up to the imagination when really we could have received entertaining or compelling episodes around exploring those aspects. What are some examples of plot points and character development that can't be done in episodes set in the future? For starters, what about how Peridot and Lapis mended their relationship after Lapis's abandonment in Season 5? Their reunion and reunited was brief, and a conversation acknowledging what happened between them was glossed over. The show instead delivering a team of crystal gems who were tight-knit and closer than ever and change your mind. As Leah points out in her video, Peridot, Bismuth, and Lapis seem to be their own little trio of best friends by the events of the film. How did things develop to that point? Especially with Bismuth being closer to Garnet and Pearl than anyone else prior to the film. What caused that shift? Why did she gravitate towards Peridot and Lapis? Not necessarily leaving Garnet and Pearl behind, but just as I'm sure Garnet and Pearl find themselves closer to Amethyst now than they are with Bismuth, how does Bismuth get to the point of finding herself closer to Peridot and Lapis over Garnet and Pearl? What about the uncorrupted gems? We may not need a full-fledged arc of the crystal gems coming to the conclusion of building a new community for the uncorrupted gems to live in, but something we're losing with the time skip is Steven forming relationships with these gems. Considering most of these characters have been in battle with Steven as mindless creatures, and also already have an established past with Garnet, Pearl, and Bismuth, there are some really interesting character interactions and dynamics that could arise exclusively from Steven getting to know them, instead of being already familiar with these gems by the time he comes back to Earth in the movie. Part of the charm of Steven Universe, especially in the earlier seasons, is that Steven was truly getting to know the crystal gems, which led to exploring the past of each gem and discovering what really makes them tick. The uncorrupted gems kind of provide a second chance to recapture that magic, with a very large cast that we have a reason to care about. about, as the entire course of the series was a fight for their return. How about changing Homeworld? It appears at the point the movie picks up, Steven will have just finished dismantling Homeworld's empire and liberating each planet, stopping their inevitable demise. Assumably, this has taken up a majority of Steven's time during the 2 years, and it's something very important to show the audience. One of the biggest questions in Steven Universe was how could the narrative possibly redeem the diamonds and address the countless number of planets that suffered because of Gemkind. Being a theory head myself, I view this as the perfect storyline to introduce other sentient alien races. The fact they're addressing it in the film, but at the tail end of what could have been made into an entire season-long arc in itself, kinda stings. It's not as if it ruins the show, and it can still work as a plot point a viewer can be filled in on by characters giving the cliff notes, but it wouldn't be nearly as satisfying. If the show did go back in reverse of its timeline, this is a plot thread worth doing it for. However, this is a plot thread that is exactly why we can't go back in the past for a full season. The trailer for the movie makes it very clear Steven's been away for quite some time. I would even say a majority of the time skip. That means Steven has had adventures with no Garnet, no Amethyst, and no Pearl. Considering the narrative only follows Steven's perspective, I can't see us being away from the iconic Crystal Gem trio for an entire season, or most of an entire season. So what are scenarios that can't be resolved within 2 years? For starters, do we even need to beat around the bush? Jasper. She could have just fled back to Homeworld after being healed. I think it's very likely that we'll see her in the film, but as a Jasper who hasn't had a redemption arc yet. A Jasper who's been avoiding all of her problems, avoiding Steven, avoiding confronting the fact that Rose Quartz was Pink Diamond, and that Pink Diamond is truly gone. That she'll never have the satisfaction of getting revenge on Rose Quartz, because she really has nothing to avenge. This could be a plotline they can tackle in the past, but it still works exceedingly well. They decide, no, let's tell the story of how Jasper becomes a true friend to Steven, maybe even a crystal gem after the time skip, as it shows how much she's really holding on to the past. That no amount of time is long enough to forgive Rose Quartz, to accept that Steven isn't Rose Quartz, to embrace that Era 3 is a completely different era of Homeworld, that the way of living she's been born into is gone and it's not coming back. What about those potential alien races who are out there, angry at the diamonds and Gemkind? If they want to explore this story, doing so after the movie is a perfect reason to keep things chugging along. Although it sounds like Rebecca Sugar is just fully committed to Steven to the point where, really, we don't have to worry about there not being any potential stories to be told. That they absolutely have some covered. What about Lars getting the courage to stop being a wuss and just make a move on Sadie already? Come on, Lars! You're a space pirate now. If I don't see you two as an official couple in the movie, I'm going to lose. Things like this, on top of whatever else is introduced in the film, alongside the new status quo in itself, presents more than enough storytelling opportunities for seasons to come. Really? I'm thinking that season 6 of Steven Universe could be like Ben 10 Omniverse, the final installment in the Ben 10 franchise before it was rebooted in 2016. Ben 10 Omniverse follows 2 periods of Ben's life concurrently: his 11-year-old self in between the events of the original series and Alien Force, and his 16-year-old self, whose adventures are continuing the timeline after Ultimate Alien. Another good example, surprisingly enough, is also We Bare Bears, which has always had some episodes set in the past with no explanation, where the bears were wee lads. We Bare Bears as a franchise also has its own spin-off in the pipeline, We Baby Bears, which I'm assuming is capitalizing on the success of those episodes set in the past, to the point where it's getting its own entire show dedicated to it. I think season 6 will see a large ongoing story that takes place after the events of Steven Universe the movie, following a 16-year-old Steven in the brand new status quo. There will also be episodes set after season 5 and before the movie, where Steven may have another new look, showing him as a 15-year-old that just begun to grow his neck and has a voice somewhere in the middle of his 2 more recent tones, which I imagine would be easier on Zackhausen's vocal cords. He may not have the 16-year-old Steven's voice, but he won't have to force himself to get that exact pitch of mid-season 2 to late season 5 Steven. Think about it, in a regular 26-episode season, 13 of those could be set after the movie, focusing on one continuous narrative, whereas the other 13 episodes could be a mix of more laid-back episodes, like Steven hanging out with Connie at our high school activities, or something zany with the uncrypted gems, while also having episodes set in the past, maybe framed as a flashback, exploring how Steven dismantled the Homeworld Empire, and how the Earth evolved to its current point, how Bismuth, Paradigm Lapis became their own little squad, how Paradigm Lapis worked through their own issues, giving us a better idea and longer look at the Diamond Redemption, how the Diamonds evolved into their current state, instead of just going, Yep, they're redeemed. That's it. Job well done. I'm excited because really, Steven Universe has 3 periods of storytelling now. They have a post-movie world with an expansive cast. They have a post-Change Your Mind but pre-movie world where a majority of Steven's adventures can be set in space, going to brand new planets, interacting with brand new gems we've never seen before. And another time period set further in the past, the period before Steven. After season 5, we can have flashback episodes with Pearl, where she shares more insight of being the Pearl for both Pink Diamond and Rose Quartz, how that Batman and Robin lifestyle played out, even involving the unencrypted gems back in that time period, as now they can be actual characters in the past and present, so there's a new perspective to take away from as well. Steven Universe honestly has a lot of room for a lot of stories, and I can't wait to see what they do with them. But as always, these are just my thoughts, and I would love to hear yours. What do you think? What time period do you believe Steven Universe Season 6 will be set in? Or multiple time periods? Do you agree with our thoughts? Let us know in the comments below, or tweet us at Roundtable Vids. And for more of my own thoughts, you can find me at OstricVox. We're also on Instagram. Special thanks to MikeCatSU for creating an awesome thumbnail. For more of his amazing art, you can find him on Twitter and Instagram at MikeCatSU and Tumblr at VintageCatSU. Link in the description. Help the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us over at Patreon. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. OstricVox signing out.